house, and I ran back and I said, "Those must be energy bars. I'm not even tired." They are.
I know. No one knows what it is when you call it.
Yeah, they take a bite of it and they're sure it's not like the organic.
I said Scotcheroos the other day, and my mom goes, "What is Scotcheroos?"
Scotcheroos?
Scotcheroos.
You're putting us to shame. Got your special camera.
You got pages and you're not going to say, you're going to tell one? Go, man. Get up.
Go.
Stand up and look at her.
Demand
I
attention.
was thinking about the first time I could remember Grandma and Grandpa. We were living on 815 South Lloyd. It was a mansion. Little house.
It's
like 10 by 15. Big Dad was just finishing college. 815 11th Avenue South. Yeah. In fact, was that the house the fridge could not fit in the kitchen?
Right. Yeah. It was up above the stairway going down the basement.
Yeah.
See, now that explains a lot to me. Okay.
And I remember that every week, Grandma and Grandpa Bierman would come to town, and they have a bunch of eggs to sell, and cream, I think. It's cream. They have buckets of cream, those milk things, cream, and eggs in boxes. And they leave some eggs at our house because my mother marketed them around the neighborhood. She was known as the egg lady. We would deliver them.
Yeah, and we
We deliver them. And I can't remember what the market rate was. I was trying to remember what the market rate was.
I think it started out at 35 cents.
Yeah, that's what I remember. 35 cents a dozen.
Delivered to your house.
Delivered to your house. Right off the farm. I just remember that Grandpa used to get candy that he kind of worked us over on. If we tried to do good things, he'd give us some gum drops or something like that. And I remember that where they got them, because Dave and I used to spend, I think when our mother was going insane, she would take us out to the farm. Unload us on Grandma. And we actually spent a lot of, even Sunday afternoons like this out there sometimes doing stuff. And you were talking about the spring chicken butchering, Paul was, and they also had a hen house. They had a hen house. It was the stinkiest place in the world. The hen house was the stinkiest place in the world. Full of a bunch of sitting hens, and a couple of really arrogant
Arrogant.
Running around in there. And we'd go in there and collect the eggs. They were always, what do they call them? Yeah. And the setting hens were in there, and you'd have to reach under the hen and take their egg. And they didn't exactly like that. So they would peck at you. And we were afraid. Grandma wasn't ever afraid. She wasn't afraid. Just go in there and grab them. And we were afraid, but we'd collect them all, and then we'd take them down. We'd put them in a bucket and take them down stairs in the house and wash them off and put them in these boxes. What do they call them?
Flats.
Flats.
Cardboard.
Flats.
Flats.
Yeah, big thing. Boxes.
We got one of those, yeah.
Then I was thinking, okay, then we get millet. What was the setting?
Millet, and the other half was like oats.
Yeah.
Whatever we had.
Yeah. Fill up a bucket, and you go over there and dump it in the truck. The hens didn't like it. It was scary. They were squawking and flapping all over the place. Might have another one later.
Yeah.
Might have another one later.
Well, obviously we got the best grandma ever. I've never had anyone tell me about a grandma that was even close to our grandma. But whenever I talk to grandma, we always talk about the good old days, right? We always talk about the good old days. Here are some of them, and some of them have already been mentioned, but the chicken coop, the barn, and the hen house, and the corn crib. And I guess these are some of my, it started out as some of my memories of grandma, and then it, then I had grandpa, and then some of them were just memories I had of the farm growing up. I remember she used to make, we used to have a drink, it was an orange drink, and then you put a little 7-Up in it. I think it was Tang, a little 7-Up, and Grandma always said it gave it a little zing. I remember we had a go-kart, and with a Briggs & Stratton motor on it, and I drove that around and around the farm yard. Do you remember my go-kart? My go-kart? That go-kart. I drove it around and around, and we're passing 100,000 times around. I ran Mike Jesse's snowmobile into the barn. I wouldn't say that was a really fond memory. I actually would grab the rooster with that hook and come running out. Get it, Grandma! I didn't want anything to do with an arm's length and hook. Grandma had to get it off. It was not happy. And it's not butchering. It was growing up in the John Kennedy years. So we assassinated chickens, didn't we? Assassinated chickens. And then I got to take the guts out. That was cool. I wanted to know how extreme you used your hand. I was a boy then. Do you remember painting that at the granary? Remember when we painted the granary? We were in the granary, and I painted the ball very tip, and we were riding in the OSHA would kill us if they ever knew. Still today, but we were riding in the front end loader, and we put a ladder up on there. Grandma and me. You remember that? You and me, we rode in a farmhand, and we put a ladder up, and I painted the ball at the very top. That was you and me. Yeah, getting the hand and then gathering the egg and getting the second. We shot off a lot of little rockets in the farm. We drank a lot of that artesian water. Ooh, that took a while to get used to. Yeah. Well,
Good water.
it was good. Yeah.
People pay money for that now.
What about the summer house? I looked around. Where'd the summer house go?
Rotted away.
No, it was just it was just that.
Screen house.
It was just a screen house.
Grandma called it
I remember.
Before air conditioning.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, different eras.
Yeah, I know.
I never got to cut chicken nuggets.
Or getting pulled at nuts. Calling Carl and Agnes Meyer on the crank phone. Yeah, because they were at the end of Aberdeen area, and then Carl and Agnes were on Redfield, Northville. So it was long distance to call your neighbor, so they had their own thing they strung the wire.
Well, it wasn't just that, because a lot of times we communicated.
Yeah.
Grandma Smith did veterinary work, and so people from the Aberdeen phone would call Grandma. And Grandma would call me, And he'd have to go do something with an arrow.
There was a party line out there, too.
Yeah, party line.
Yeah, party line.
So everybody knew that
You could listen on your neighbors all talking on the phone.
Yeah, he wanted to call me.
Well, I think Mike was on the other side too. Didn't he have to call Agnes to ask you out?
I'm not sure about that.
Catching bullheads in Snake Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Playing in the haystacks. Okay. And then one time, I don't know if you remember that old truck you had, that International, the red one.
Oh, yeah.
One time I rode in the back of that. What? 1940 something.
What was that International?
Yeah, it was right after the war.
Still have that, Mike?
We're trying.
I rode in the back of that when they were harvesting, and I think it might have been barley or something, and I rode in it, and I've got hundreds of slivers in my legs. Would that be barley?
Yeah.
Barley.
Barley was...
And I laid on the couch and had my legs on Grandma's lap, and she was yanking them out. That's not good. I watched Grandma crochet a tablecloth. You see how you do it is you make pig pens, and then you put pigs in some of them, and you leave some others empty.
You were listening to what she told me.
Yeah, all these little squares, they were pig pens. And
He didn't.
what? Oh, you make pig pens, and then you put pigs in some of them. You remember.
For crocheting.
The squares for crocheting, so you still did, and you called them pig pens, and you were putting pigs in them. Oh.
You might have just made that up for me that day. I don't know. I always remembered it. I got to ride on the Oliver tractor. I remember Grandpa used to have a lot of funny jingles he would sing when I rode with him. We picked rocks. Grandma and I picked rocks. That's one thing that we talked about a lot. That was a blast. I got to drive that old International truck out in the field looking for rocks. Grandma and me, basically, I popped the clutch, and then I just steer around and bounce around, and we look for rocks. We'd get out and whip them in there.
Well, Grandma even had trouble finding the gear all the time. It was always a lot of work.
Yeah, it was tough, but I only drove it in one gear. There was no gear shifting. One day,
No synchro mesh on that.
One day, Dad made me a slingshot out of a tree branch and an inner tube and a piece of leather, and I shot it a few hundred times, and I don't think I ever hit anything. But one time I saw a duck in the pond, so I took off running out after it, and of course, before I could even get stopped, the duck was flying away, and of course, stopping was a mistake because it was mud. And I got my cowboy boots stuck in the mud, and I couldn't move. So I had to stand out there and yell and yell and yell. Yeah. Finally, Dad came and got me. Well, the worst thing about it is Rebecca laughed at me. I've never forgot that. So after the slingshot, I got a BB gun, and I shot that 100,000 times or more. And I got pretty good at it. I shot some birds and some pigeons and turtles in Snake Creek, and I won first place in the Aberdeen 8-year-old BB gun shooting contest.
Wow.
And then I decided I must need more powerful weapons. So I got a 22, and there was nothing safe. The cats followed me around. Then, when I was about 10, I took a shotgun with me, Grandma. Remember my shotgun? And one of those, we'll call them arrogant or whatever, confident roosters. Grandma grabbed one of those confident roosters, threw him over the fence, and then I took the shotgun, and that must have been the first time I ever shot a gun that big or something, but it just about knocked me on my rear end. When I let the feathers fly. The feathers really
To pack up, were you the one that Grandma tried to chicken up so you could...
That was an embellishment of the true story.
Hey, Paul, after he got done, they chopped the head off. He did the joke.
That one did not move. After they moved into town, do you remember making donuts? You made donuts in your basement. Yeah. Do you remember Kelly? I don't know. You probably don't remember him, but remember my friend came over and that we were eating donuts, and he asked one if he could keep one, if he could take one for his dad. Remember that?
Was this in town or?
Yeah, that was in town.
Across the alley and down a little bit.
On the washing machine.
Across the alley and down a little bit.
Yeah.
Everybody likes them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grandma did a lot of frying down in the basement. All the I can tell.
One time we were going to go to the Black Hills on vacation and take Rebecca with us. And we were out at Grandma's, and they must have been talking in the back room or something. And came out, and Mom asked me if I might rather stay at Grandma's instead of go with them. A whole week at Grandma's, the biggest no-brainer in my life, right? And I would jump at the chance to do that again.
We talked to Hill, and he told somebody, the folks are going and Joel's going, but I get to stay at Grandma's.
I would make that very same decision today. No conversation between Grandma and me occurs without a thorough discussion of gopher trapping. we trapped dozens, I don't know, 100, few hundred gophers. Thousands of gophers over several years. And, I would never want, it was never any fun to go without you, of course. I think maybe one or two of those times you wanted me to just go ahead and go. But that was totally unacceptable. So maybe Grandma climb the fence and go get those gophers. That's the story of Dave Henley.
Our stores are so interesting. I remember making
Kind of has to do with Grandma's grandson. Anyway, I don't know about Paul, but her grandsons probably, they were looking forward to having a big sister, or maybe not live with them. But anyway, Joel and Dave were at that time into the creepy crawl manufacturing business. I mean, they had the business set up in the whole town of Aberdeen, I think. I mean, they were pouring them suckers out worms and bugs with all kinds of legs, and then they had them, they'd even put them more, I think, in the windowsills to lighten them up, so at night then they could put them on the ceiling. Rebecca come home from her classes, turn on the lights, everything was fine. She'd flip the lights off and the whole damn ceiling would just glow.
That's right. I had him in my bed. I had him in the
Anyway, I'm sure they were just laying upstairs and
When
like,
the boys used to make those
flip the lights on.
jelly creepy crawlers,
Yeah.
But then finally,
and when Mom was in school, they would put them on her ceiling and in her bed and such.
but I just want your kids to know about these mischievous husbands that you have, because it just ruined, I mean, a couple, 2-3 years of my married life. At least once a week, she would wake in the middle of the night just beating the crap out of the bed, you know. Finally, when she woke up, there's bugs in my bed. I mean, she'd tear the sheets back, and we were looking for these bugs. I mean, it took years for...
Did you hear that?
And then as Dave is telling you how great a hunter he was, I thought he could do better than that. Because we went deer hunting one time.
No.
He comes out with 2 boxes of shells, I mean 40 rounds to get one deer. Guess what? That wasn't enough. We had to rely on the shotgun to polish it off.
Why you have still, huh?
I mean, he had shot thousands of rounds. You just heard him confess that, you know, at the chicken, but he said 20 rounds and one deer.
Well, I showed him how to do it. You know, just let the lead fly off.
It was about 4:30 that night. I think he was just dying.
Well, I guess.
Yeah,
I was the ultimate of cool. I was in the Central High School marching band. And when they were hunting, we had to be so
I know what you're talking about.
I missed all of this 40 rounds and killed a deer with a shotgun.
He didn't know how to do it.
I didn't know how to do it. So
He didn't know
we're
anything
going
about
to
it.
take you out on Sunday. So I get up on Sunday. We go out there. I heard a deer. And
Yeah, it should be one. It should be one as well.
and I said,
What is it? Why enough to show?
deer hunting?
Scope. Don't use no scope. That's for girls.
More fun.
Well, put me in a dress. I would have called all that.
You're 100 shots.
You guys were fun. Let's go all the way back down when you talk about you don't know how to do it. One shot.
Bam, bam, bam. I can see that happening. Yeah. Boy, what's the fun in that?
Yeah.
You haven't said boo yet.
But their aunt got back at him. So the day we got married, David and Joel come, because they're still up their old trick. He had boxes of crap that they were in our car. You know, whatever. Rebecca said, I'm not going to do that. We hit her down the gravel pit. And they ejected 2 boys and everything.
Yeah. That's the fun in that.
Would you do it again? Are you signing the contract for next year? We discussed this. Yeah. After 30, we need to renegotiate.
When you're late.
Boy, that's something I'm glad I didn't do before. That was a good plan. That's a good idea. Kool-Aid stand stories? Kool-Aid stand? No, what's your story? over and played with Grandma's old books from when she used to teach school, and Grandma likes telling the story. Mother Goose and her brothers.
Yeah, you had to read it.
Grandma always, I was her little plaything, because I would always dress up for her and her sisters and act out her book stories. And there was a story about Grandma Goose or Mother Goose and her rubbers were stuck in the umbrella, and I acted that out. I like pictures. It might have been you. Okay. And then I would pick up bad eating habits at Grandma's when Mom would drop me out there and she'd go to work. I always had to drink skim milk at home, and I'd come home and want 2% after going to Grandma's. All the coffee and put sugar on everything.
Yes, and not only that, but she told me that skim milk at the farm is what they fed to the pigs. And I came back to my mother and I said, "We're drinking pig milk."
I hear that all the time, too. For pigs. Make you guys have white bread with butter and brown sugar. Well, and brown sugar.
I still do that.
So good. And strawberries. Nice strawberries. You put sugar in. Strawberries. And she always has cookies. She never lets you down with the cookies or the candy store. Those cream pies. Those oatmeal cream pies. Can't never remember the thing. Like your little Debbie, but you would eat. And I played with all of her dominoes and Cracker Jack toys that she's still trying to give me to this day. Or all the coffee. Remember all the coffee you used to feed us?
Coffee? Grandma Starbucks? Is that who this is?
He's like, here's some coffee, but remember, it stunts your growth. That's why we're so short. You fed us coffee. That's why we're so short. You stunted our growth. Didn't you have an apricot tree in your back there?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was trying to tell me about that, but I never... She put that down. We always went over to an apricot tree. An apricot tree.
Yeah, we tried to grow one. I don't know when they ever...
You and I always went over to Mary's and got apples and made applesauce. That was one of the reasons I was partying. There was quite a show over at Adler's this morning. See, I wasn't around for the apple tree in the front yard. No. She wasn't born. I didn't exist.
The other thing I remember about you is you would hide in the closet. Yes. And my mother...
Yes, I guess.
Forget it. I want to tell you a story. My mother would tell me stories about you. About how you would be over at Grandma's and you would decide, I'm just going to go stand in the closet in their bedroom and close the door. And your grandmother was frantically looking for you for 2 hours. And there you were. So, they were worried about you. There's something about the second kid.
He likes being alone.
I can't remember. Joel, you ate like one time at the party 13 years ago. Yeah. I was never able to get over like 8.
That was another production we did in the year. Freeze the whole freezer.